Welcome to this demonstration of Epicenter's FIT4Cloud tooling. FIT4Cloud is exclusively built on Oracle technology. Java, Oracle databases, SQL and Oracle Native integration tooling provide the framework for the application. The application and the supporting framework all run on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. This means that the product is developed by Oracle specialists and is aimed at the Oracle HCM Cloud Community. We're going to demonstrate how best to configure FIT4Cloud to best suit your requirements for a given scenario. Bear in mind that while we're demonstrating the transfer of employee data here, FIT4Cloud can also be used for maintenance and transfer of master data. We're going to go through the steps of configuring an outbound interface from Oracle HCM Cloud to the payroll system. After checking that the process has been completed correctly, we'll then configure an inbound interface from the payroll system to Oracle HCM Cloud to pick up any changes made in the external payroll system and sync them up with employee data in Oracle. So we're at the login page, which can support single sign-on or native authentication. Once in, the first thing we'll do is clone an existing outbound interface. FIT4Cloud has a range of off-the-shelf interface templates that we can use as a starting point to save you having to create everything from scratch. This interface could be based on FIT4Cloud's extraction tooling, or it could be based on HCM Extract Global Payroll Interface, etc. We can enter our new interface name and choose an existing interface to go and clone. Now we can amend the high-level interface parameters for our new interface. Here we're going to specify some global options and also how the employee data in Oracle HCM Cloud links to the person identifier in the payroll system. We'll specify this as an outbound interface, so from Oracle HCM Cloud to an external receiving system for now, and later we'll explore the import functionality. We'll also set some global options for our interface, such as whether to include changes after an employee is terminated. And on the second tab, we can specify for how long they should be included in the output. And we can also decide if we'd like to include any historical data. Next, we'll check that our list of fields that we want to extract and use is correct. If we were creating this interface from scratch, we'd define these fields. But as we've cloned a template, we can now go through them and modify them as needed. For each field, we can specify default values, the field tag for XML output, whether the field is mandatory, and as a failsafe, what value to populate it with if it's missing. This can help if we're in the test phase and want to be able to get our data through. We can then report back to the source system that this value should be populated. We can also specify all the important basic information like data type, length, etc. On the field source details, we have quite a lot of powerful options. We can use instances to help us select a particular type for a field. Think of address or phone types. In FIT4Cloud, we can specify these instances and then all we have to do is reference them here in our field mapping. We also have special custom processes which can be called upon. These special processes are a way of being able to tailor logical processing for very customer-specific requirements. We can also use configurable translation options. These are useful when Oracle HCM Cloud uses a value that needs to be mapped to values in the target system. During the requirements gathering, we will have already decided if we need to translate the values we're getting from the source system. FIT4Cloud lets you record these translations so that at runtime, the transformations will provide the target system with the expected values for transaction or reference data. So far, we have an interface and a set of fields, which tell us what data we want to extract from Oracle HCM Cloud. We can now use those fields to build the structure of our output by creating a file definition. FIT4Cloud provide the option to create a completely new file definition or clone this from an existing file structure. Again, This can be cloned and modified as needed. The files can then be attached to the interface via the configuration definition. In the interface population setup, we can specify legal entities that we want to be able to process. We also need to provide the payroll ID, which is the pay group, i.e., the frequency of the payroll calculation, along with other payroll criteria. The period type relates to the type of persons to be processed: employees, contingent workers, or non-workers. Now we can run the interface, monitor the status, and retrieve the output. We can specify notifications, recurrences, which will let us know about the status of the run. We can read files in from the external system and feed them to the Oracle HCM Cloud. We need to specify the file structure for the import and the structure of the delivery to the Oracle HCM Data Loader, or HDL. First, let's check an employee's data in Oracle HCM Cloud. In this use case, we're going to present a scenario where an employee's address has been updated in an external system, and this needs to be fed back to Oracle HCM Cloud. We're going to use this input file to update that date in Oracle HCM Cloud with the data in the file. We're going to use an off-the-shelf inbound interface for updating addresses. We're also able to clone this interface, make any adjustments, or create a new one from scratch. But for simplicity's sake, we'll use an existing one. We're going to read in the file provided, convert it to the HDL format that Oracle expects, and then load the data back up to Oracle HCM Cloud to make the update. We need to have at least two file definitions: one to accept the file from the external system that's providing the update, and another to structure the file output so that Oracle HCM Cloud can read the data that we're going to send it. Here we have an additional file structure for reporting any error messages during the import. We run the first stage of the process to import the file and convert it to the Oracle accepted format. At this point, we can visually compare the data for the upload and the current data in Oracle HCM Cloud using the Data Compare Analysis tool. If we're happy with the data here, we can proceed with the data realignment, or we can perform amendments to the upload data both before and after performing the realignment. Now we can log back in to Oracle HCM Cloud and verify that the date has been updated as expected. Of course, these updates aren't just limited to date. Any aspect of a person's attributes or even reference data can be updated in this way. We've seen how FIT4Cloud can extract data from Oracle HCM Cloud, enrich and deliver it to target systems, and how it can feed in data into Oracle HCM Cloud from external sources. Thank you for watching. For more information, please feel free to contact us at Epicenter.